Welcome back to the 2014 Green Mountain Championship at Smugglers Notch Resort. We've got an exciting lead card footage today featuring Will Schusterick with a 6 under 54 in round 2. Will vaulted to the top of the leaderboard. Accompanying him is Simon Lizotte with a 2 under 58. He stayed in the mix. Here's some thoughts from Jason Dore.
I just try to keep it simple, don't go too overboard, and just do what I've been doing so far.
Jason's coming off a 5 under 55 to stay on the lead card. And of course, we have our defending champion, Ricky Wysocki, who shot a 6 under 54 to keep the lead going into the third round of the Green Mountain Championship. And welcome back to the Green Mountain Championship. We're excited to bring you round 3 footage. Round 3 is going to consist of the 18-hole Brewster Ridge layout. It's a par 60 with 3 par 4s on each the front and the back 9. The top 5 competitors after this 18-hole round will join us for our final 9 coverage. The final 9 is going to be held on the meadows of Fox Run. That's a 9-hole course. It sits right next to Brewster Ridge. Here we join the players as they get ready to tee off on hole 1. Jason Dore is set up to make a run at some of these touring pros. Will Schusterick's here his first time, and he's right in the mix. And of course, we have our defending champion, Ricky Wysocki.
2014 Japan Open champion, 2011 PDGA champion, 2011 Rookie of the Year, and 2012 Player of the Year from Fort Mill, South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
All right, and here's Ricky teeing off on hole 1. And he gets off to a great start, buzzing by the basket, and he looks to be in prime position to start off his round with a birdie. Jason Dore, Northeastern kid, always turning up for this tournament and playing well. Let's see how he starts his round. Looks a little left. Catches a nice kick and settles just inside the circle. He'll have about a 25-footer for birdie.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Of course, Will Schusterick at this time was the 2-time defending U.S. champion. He went on to win his 3rd U.S. title 2 weeks after this tournament, and it looks like he hugged the right side and found a little trouble. Simon Lizotte went on to break the world distance record, and here he puts it pretty tight for a good look at birdie. Jason Dore for 2. Oh, and just high, it kicks away, and it looks like he'll have a challenging comebacker. Oh, and that's just low. You can see the wind is already playing a little havoc on the putting game. Here's Simon looking to clean up his birdie. No problem there for Simon. Ricky and Will are nestled in quite nicely. Shouldn't have any problems with these 2 birdie putts for 2 of the top players in the world. And they don't, as they both card 2s. So we have 3 birdies and a bogey to start off. This knocks Jason down into 4th place out of a tie for 2nd. And Rick still holds a 2-stroke lead as we go to hole 2. This is the par 4 uphill grinder, about 500 feet. You need distance and accuracy to score well on this hole. Players like to avoid the right hand out of bounds line, but they can't be too far left or they'll be out of position. Let's see how Rick does it. And that is just picture perfect. Right up the gut. A nice floaty mid-range that settles just before the red tee, which is exactly where you want to be. Rick is in position A. And here's Will looking to replicate what he just saw. And he can't do it. Oh, a terrible kick to the left after sawing it off slightly. Simon. Wow. Tried the roller, and it did not sit up. Let's see another look at that one. Yeah, it just cut rolled to the left, and he's going to be in a very tight spot. Jason Dore also going right up that left side. It kicks out to the right, which is actually a great kick for Jason. They all avoided the out of bounds on the right side, but in 3 of the cases, too far left. That's Simon's attempt to get out of jail, and it looks like he'll have an interesting third as Will flicks his second and hits the lane beautifully. He's right in the center, looking to get up and in for par. Here's Jason Dore. Ouch. You want to move that one right to left, but he didn't put it out to the right enough and gets knocked down very quickly. Ricky, in the best position, looks to get next to the basket for a birdie putt. Oh, and you can see it get knocked down right there in front of the camera. He'll have about an 80-footer for a birdie. Can Jason recover? That skip helps him get within putting range. We'll see if he can save his par. And here's Simon, that roller out of the shul, winded up right here. It looks like he's got a little room to work with. Can he bend one in there? He goes right to left. Will it come back to the right? Yes, it will. You saw it flash on the left side of your screen, and it looks like he's in there for a relatively easy par putt. Will looking to do the same. A nice bend. He came up just short. Should have about 20 feet for par. As we watch Rick's birdie attempt just fall off to the left. Jason really needs this putt. He started with a bogey. If he can't cash this, he'll fall even further behind. There we go, Jay. That's about a 35-footer up the hill. We saw him hit a 55-footer here yesterday for birdie. This is a hole that got him back on track. Let's see if that puts a little spark in his giddy-up. Will took his time with that 20-footer for par, but it does make its way into the basket as we see Simon and Rick clean up. Everybody parred that hole, and the leaderboard does not change. Remember, we've got a 5th member joining this crew to see who will play in the final 9 as we go to hole 3. We're watching Rick tee off right up and over the knoll, and he should be pretty close. That was a nice height and a nice line. Same with Will. Will's a little bit further left, but both of those could be right next to the basket. Oh, Simon pulls his to the right. Players are aiming for the large spruce tree that we see right in the center of the screen as we zoom up. And Jason's also pulled his to the right. This hole is relatively short for the top professionals and really is a birdie hole. Simon can't quite capitalize on his. And neither can Jason. Their drives led them a little bit too far to the right to convert their birdies. Rick, on the other hand, after a great drive, knocks his in for birdie on the elevated basket. Let's see that again. Beautiful putt, about 25 feet up the hill. Jason's going to clean up his par putt. Which means Will is parked right next to the basket as Simon cleans up his par. After round 2, we were able to catch up with Jason to talk about one of the keys to his game.
My putting has been kind of all over the place, so I might go home and just put a couple repetition putting in. And for me, I just try to keep it simple, don't go too overboard, and just do what I've been doing so far. The longer that I think about it, the more likely I am I'm just going to want to change my disc or change the way I throw it. Or so I try to just walk up and go, well, that's my shot, that's what I'm going to do, and then I try to execute it. And it's been working really well out here this weekend. So.
Here's the scenic Smugglers notch as we look at the standings after 3 holes. Ricky's opened up his lead to 3 strokes over Will, and we've seen Jason fall back slightly. We head to one of Brewster Ridge's signature holes, par 4, hole 4. 525 feet uphill. You can see the two tall spruces right in front of the competitors here. And Ricky chooses to split them, moving his disc left to right. And it looks like he's skipped up, and he is in a great position there on the right side of the fairway. Will Schusterick with another beautiful shot, and it looks like he turns his left to right just enough as well. And he's driven his drive very far up the fairway. Simon a little too far left. Looks like he might be caught up in the shul on the left side. And Jason Dore, as we go to a second camera angle, looks like he's a little bit too far left, but he got up the fairway quite a bit. Here's Simon on the left side of your screen. We can see some movement as he pitches out. Yep, and it falls down. You saw it fall right in the center of the screen. He's in a tough spot there. He's not in either of the lanes here. Jason moving his right to left, and that might have cut rolled to the right. Let's check the second camera angle to see where he finished. Oh, it did not cut roll. It skipped up, and he should have a beautiful look at a 3-putt. Simon trying to get creative with his second. He's using the left-hand lane on this hole. And Rick in a great position flicks his up, and it looks like he might have got his all the way up over the wall and onto the green. We'll have to see. All right, here's Will Schusterick. Chips his up, and it bounces over the wall. He'll have an amazing look at a birdie as we see Simon drain a long putt for his 4 save. After his drive, that's an amazing 4. And there's Jason for his 3. What a birdie from Jason Dore. And here's Will for his 3. Oh, just short after 2 brilliant shots. That's painful as you watch Rick tap out his birdie and take a 4-stroke lead over Will. That was a painful miss for Will as we go on to the 5th hole, and Rick has now opened up a 4-stroke lead. This is a par 3, 285 feet. We've got OB all the way down the left side. A very dangerous hole. This could be a big swing hole. Very birdieable, but very easy to bogey as well. You see Rick with that deft touch on his flick. That was just a beautiful shot as we see it wrap in and just nestle next to the basket. Jason Dore looks to replicate, but just gets knocked down. Last guardian tree. And here's Schusterick. He knows he needs a good shot and looking to climb back into the race here with Rick. Oh, just as it was flipping up, it gets knocked down. And Simon Lizotte choosing forehand. Wow, Simon got lucky there. You can see him grimace as he threw it into the OB tree line, and it got knocked out. A pitch up, and hopefully he'll be able to knock that in for a par. Here's Will's approach. Gave it a little run there, but it nestled up right next to it. And Jason does the same. Looks like they've secured their pars as they pitch up next to the basket. And Ricky Wysocki continues his march to a large lead. Simon did save his par, and you see Will and Jay tap out, but we're looking at a 5-stroke lead here all of a sudden. After he starts with 2 strokes to spare, he's pushed it up real quick. And we're moving on to hole 6. This par 3 is pretty much a must-get birdie. There is an island green, although the island is fairly generous. And Rick is testing the limits of that generosity as he is close to the out-of-bounds line. We'll have to wait and see as we watch Jason Dore flirt with the ceiling but come down inbounds with a birdie putt. Here's Will Schusterick. And he's got a great line, just fading left. That was pretty much an ace run. Simon also looking very nice. And he's got a drop in just like Will. Rick splashes out for his birdie. He was just in bounds as we watch his birdie putt roll away to about 10 feet. And there's Jason Dore safely in for his 2, and he picks up a stroke on Rick. And with the drop-ins, Will and Simon will also pick up a stroke on our leader, which probably has them breathing a sigh of relief, as Ricky was looking like he was about ready to run away with this tournament here on the opening 6 holes of the 3rd round. You can see as the wind is picking up as the competitors move on to hole 7. Smugglers Notch Resort would like to thank Prodigy Disc for their support of the Green Mountain Championship. All right, moving on to hole 7. This is a downhill par 3 moving right to left. You've got to get the disc out straight for about 200 feet and then let it bend sharply to the left. You can see Jason asking his disc to move, and it weaves through the right side of the rough and looks like it got down there. Will Schusterick. Ooh, challenging the left side. It does look like it faded left, but he probably is short after those nicks by the foliage. Simon looks like he's got a fantastic line. That poured down right towards the basket. And Ricky Wysocki, our leader, with 4 strokes to play with, he launches a perfect mid-range down the alley. Here's Will. He did end up short, but he's got a look. And he just gets knocked down by the metal. Jason Dore. Yes, it's good for birdie, and Jason is starting to heat up after that bogey start. He's right back into the mix. Ricky from just inside the circle. And gets it over the metal lip of the basket. He's been having a couple issues with just putting slightly low. You can see Will was tapping in for his par, and Simon drops it in for a birdie. So we've got 3 birdies and a par, which allows Simon and Jason to catch Will 5 back of Ricky, who actually extended his lead. This is a par 4. It's a dogleg right to left. The first shot you want to throw about 400 feet straight away. Jason lets his rip, and it looks like he's hugging the left side. Don't really see that one finish. Here's Simon, and he's using the main lane effectively. We see his cutting to the left, and that looks like it should be in the perfect position. Let's see if Rick can follow. Hugging that left side. Oh, and he catches a tree. You see it scuttle out just short of the landing zone. And here's Will Schusterick, a low laser beam, cutting left. That could be the best of the bunch. All right, Rick first to go. Throwing a roller up right at the basket. Cutting to the right. He may have a look at that one. Here's Simon. Using the lane effectively. He's just short. He'll have a long look at his birdie as well. Here's Will. Like we said, he's in the best position of everyone. Clear approach. And that skips up near the basket. And Jason Dore wove his way through the trees. Oh, and he gets knocked down short. We'll see if any of these players can convert for 3. Oh, Ricky just short. Great bid from length. And Jason Dore, a big putt for Jay. No, just long and right. Simon, eager to see that go in, and he gets it to fall. And here's Will Schusterick for his birdie. And Will closes the gap with Simon as they move 1 stroke closer to Ricky Wysocki. Only a 4-stroke lead for Ricky. He's pushed his lead a little wider, but the competitors on his heels are battling back. Here's hole 9 as we look to make the turn. One of the shortest holes on the course, but also one of the most challenging, with a very tight uphill lane. Brewster Ridge is a challenge. It's a long walk. It's uphill. It's downhill. It's grueling. And getting up to the 9th hole is not always an easy stroll. Here's Simon. Looks like he's hit the lane very nicely, fading up to the left side of the green. Let's see if Will can replicate. Oh, Will's just pulled it right. You can see the treachery that this hole provides with its narrow lane. He's going to struggle to make par. And Jason gets it up a little further. Rolls out across the lane. He wanted that to stop in the middle. And he's going to have to chip out as well. And then Ricky, as cool as the other side of the pillow, he puts it up there. Let's see another angle. Oh, yes, and he skips it right onto the green. The upside of Will's shot is that he did land in the middle, so he can get up and down for his par. Jason, on the other hand, needs to get a little bit more creative. He's looking to go high. Will it bend in? Oh, it will, and it rolls up next to the bucket. What an escape shot from Jason Dore as we watch Ricky. No problem. Tap in his birdie. Will looking to save par. And he gets it. Simon and Jason tap in. And here we go. Simon and Will switch places. And Simon's now the one 4 back as Will drops to 5 and Jason to 6 after our front 9 action. All right, moving on to the back 9. We're excited for a very challenging finish, starting with this long downhill par 4, over 400 feet. The lane is tight at the start and opens up. Simon goes high. With many of Simon's shots, we are not sure where they go until they fall. He's a very creative player with a big arm. Ricky also goes high. And it's nowhere to be seen. We'll have to catch up with that shot as we move down the fairway. Here's Jason throwing it high, and it's floating straight down at the basket. What a shot from Jason. It just drops and drops and drops and doesn't fade. That thing was on a line. Will choosing the lower route. He busts through the tree and comes up just short. All right, well, it looks like Ricky ended up in the foliage, and he just has a pitch out, but it looked like it was an effective one. Here's Simon. He threw it high, and it came down short. He's going to pitch up as well. And just through the green. Will for birdie. Not quite. So we're watching Simon clean up his par. We're watching Rick clean up his par. And Jason Dore for birdie. Jason climbs into a tie for third, only 5 back. And after 10, Ricky is still holding on to that 4-stroke lead. Simon, Will, and Jason all are looking to chip into it as we come down the home stretch. This is a downhill par 4, 575 feet. You need length and placement as we catch up with the chase card in Steve Brewster off the tee of 11. That is an unlucky kick to the left. Kyle Moriarty lets one fly. Another early hit, and they both kick left. These two, Kyle and Steve, are in a tight battle for that 5th spot and the right to play in the final 9. As we switch back over to our lead card, and Jason Dore, wow, a beauty off the tee, gets knocked down. He just challenged that left side. It needs to cut to the right a little sooner. You see Simon cutting to the right too soon. Let's see if Rick can find the difference between those two and put one right down the pipe. He challenged the left side, but it got through, and he is quite a distance down the fairway. Even though he's on the left side, he may have a lot to work with. Schusterick going high. And in the tight woods of Vermont, when you go up top, it's hard to know where they fall. So we'll catch up with Will's after Simon's second. He's looking right down that lane. Oh, and it's got to be painful as he catches the left side of the fairway. Jason Dore is not in a bad spot. He's looking to flick one down. The basket's right at the end in the dark shadow. And that's looking good. How does it finish? Just a little bit to the right. He has a lengthy birdie opportunity. And here's Simon's third. He really needs to get up and in. He can't afford to give up many more strokes here. He's bending one. Oh, and he hits a tree before the green. He's going to have a very lengthy par putt. Schusterick's second. Oh, turns it over just a little too much. You can see the players fighting the wind a little here, not quite sure how it's going to affect their disc. However, for Rick on that last approach, it wasn't much of a problem. Will pitches up. That's going to be a tap in for 4. Oh my goodness, Simon Lizotte with an amazing par save. That's exactly what he needed. That was about 80 feet. Let's take another look. Pops it through. And it falls in. Schusterick for par. No. And Will has to be upset with that putt as he watches our leader make his birdie. Wow. 2 strokes gained on Will as Will drops back to 13 under, 7 back. Simon's hanging in there, only 5 back, with Jason Dore in the middle, 6 back of our leader, Ricky Wysocki. The downhill par 3 12th, another one of Brewster Ridge's signature holes, is very birdieable. But it looks like Rick has hit the foliage on the right, come up a little short. Opportunity here for our other competitors. And Jason busts his onto the green. Looks like he'll have a putt just outside of the circle. Simon with a nice line. We'll have to see where that finished. And Will. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. That's exactly what you want to do. Drive it nice and low and punch through the gap. And Ricky goes a little long. He's going to have a tough comeback par putt, opening the door for players like Simon here. Oh, and Simon just misses for birdie. Can Jason convert? Oh, Jason can't either. And Ricky closes the door of opportunity with a beautiful comeback par putt. Simon keeps up, making his 3 as well. Will actually made his birdie, while Jason missed his par. Smugglers Notch Resort would like to thank Fiddlehead Brewing Company for their support of the Green Mountain Championships. All right, on to hole 13. This is one of the devils of the back 9. A dog leg turning left to right with a very tight entrance to a green. You really need to have a great position shot off the tee. Will Schusterick throwing putter and turning it around the hemlock to be in a great position. Hopefully the birdie on the last hole and that tee shot can get Will back into this tournament. Ricky cuts the corner with a mean flick, and that could have ended up really nicely. Simon Lizotte going higher. Oh, just gets knocked down, and he's going to be looking at a tough angle on the right side there. And Jason Dore hits a tree on the left side and almost hits our second cameraman. A little too close for comfort there for Bruce. And Jason skips his into the entrance to the green. Oh, Simon trying to hit a small gap, and he knew it right away. He pulled it left. And here's Will after a prime drive. Oh, that's got to be painful as well, because that shot is one Will hits most of the time. He'll still have a long putt at it, his 3. Simon up and in 3, and he should be able to make his 4. And here's Ricky after his tee shot. He's trying to find a way through. And we'll have to see where that ended up. It looks like it punched through, and he may actually have a putt for his 3. Here's Will's putt for birdie. Oh, just like the last shot, tantalizingly close as we see Jason Dore hit his birdie. The crowd likes it. And we see the results after 13. Rick actually got his birdie after that punch through the foliage. Simon got his par. He's 6 back now. And Jason was the only birdie on that hole other than Rick. We're moving on to hole 14. And the lead for Rick is increasing. Let's see if anybody can get it back down to a reasonable margin before the end of round 3. With shots like that from Rick, it's going to be tough. He's up there in good position. This uphill par 3 is another birdie hole.
Yeah,
and you see Jason putting a great move on his. You want to be just to the right side of that hemlock in the middle.
Yeah, well.
And all our competitors look comfortable throwing great shots. Simon as well. And from the looks of it, this should be 4 birdies. Will just short on his attempt, but no problem from Jason. No problem for Rick. And Simon's going to go ahead and clean up as well. So the field gains 1 on Schusterick here as we move on to the last stretch of 4 holes. Ricky has a 6-stroke lead over Simon, 7 over the other 2. As we move on to hole 15, this last final stretch of 4 holes is really a great part of disc golf here at Smugglers Notch and Brewster Ridge. This is one of the toughest tee shots as you see Rick hit an early tree and get knocked down. This gap that we see Jason winding his disc through is a must make. That stone wall in front of you is out of bounds if you don't cross it and land in it. Simon looks like he challenged it. And Will blasts one right down the center. He gets knocked down on the right side. You really need that right there to bend left even more than it did, but he'll have a look. Here's Ricky throwing from the drop zone. And what a shot. He's going to have a tap-in bogey. Here's Simon also throwing from the drop zone. Another great shot. Let's see it finish. Oh, yes. And he'll be in good position for his bogey. And Will misses his birdie. Simon taps in for bogey. And here's Jason for birdie. And he gets it. Wow, picks up 2 strokes on both Rick and Simon. Oh, and Will misses his chance to pick up 1. Wow, we have 3 bogeys out of our 4 competitors, as long as Rick can tap in. And he does. You can see this is a sloped green with a hemlock bunker surrounding it. And let's check in on the scores. Rick still with that 5-shot lead, but this time it's Jason Dore in second. Hole 16, another one of the memorable holes here. Very much downhill and turning left to right. Jason throwing a great shot. Looks like he may have maneuvered his disc onto the green. Rick is cutting in early. You really want to get around that birch tree you see there. And here's Simon. Simon's taking a great route, nice and wide, and it's cutting in. He could be in prime position for a birdie look. And Will trying to flip one over, and it's diving in nicely, only to get rejected. Here's Will's pitch. We don't see it, but that should be in fine position for a 3. Simon for 2, just misses. Rick for his 2, and that putt could have been a dagger. Here's Jason for his 2. Yes, and Jason Dore is heating up. He's trying to close the gap between himself and Ricky Wysocki, so he has a shot on the final 9. There's Will Schusterick tapping in for his par. Rick cleaning up for his par as well. And there's Simon, also with par. So let's check in on the overall scores. You can see Jason Dore has cut it to 4 strokes. Simon and Will have fallen back a little bit, 6 strokes and 8 strokes respectively, but Jason's trying to make a match of this one, and he's got 2 more holes to do it. Let's see if he can close the gap anymore, but 4 strokes is within striking distance for a final 9. Hole 17, another par 4. It's a dogleg right to left. We saw Simon Lizotte throw a ridiculous sky shot.
$1 from everybody?
And Jason Dore on a roll, looking to continue cutting into the lead of Ricky Wysocki. It looks like an excellent tee shot, moving right to left. We'll see where it finishes, but the crowd liked it. And Ricky challenging the right side, somehow getting through, and he's in a great position. Let's take another look at that. It's coming right at us. He's right on the tree line, and it just pushes it back into the fairway, and that is position A. Simon with another bomb up top. Where it will come down, no one knows. There's a spectator just looking for it. And he likes it. It's probably in a good spot. Let's see if our second camera picked it up. Staring straight above him as if it's a flying, unidentified flying object. Oh, there it drops down right next to the red tee. Unbelievable. Schusterick not taking quite an aggressive route, but a beautiful shot nonetheless, and that is a perfect line. All the competitors with good tee shots here. And the crowd definitely built as the day wore on. There's Ricky busting through the left side. Oh, and Jason Dore trying to hit a gap that he just didn't quite get. And Will Schusterick nestles his up onto the green. He should have a good birdie opportunity. And there's Simon after his crazy air shot. And it looks like he's put himself in a good position. Jason Dore for his 3, just low. And now we see Ricky Wysocki with a putt to extend his lead. No, and it takes a crazy kick and rolls into the rough. He's going to need that one to keep his 4-stroke lead as we head to 18. Let's see if Rick can do it. Simon with his birdie. And it looks like it's going to be Will Schusterick first. Will for his 3. A birdie for Will. So Will and Simon closing the gap. Looks a little awkward in there for Ricky. This is a big one. And Ricky makes it. That's a big putt. It keeps his lead at 4. Although Will and Simon did cut into Rick's lead and come one more closer to Jason. Well, it's been an exciting round, and we've seen Ricky extend his lead to 4 strokes. Simon's only 5 back, and Will's hanging around. We'll see what 18 can bring, and if there's going to be any more shakeups before the final 9. We know that Steve Brewster and Kyle Moriarty are in a battle to join these 4 on our final 9. Simon right into the foliage, the little bush that protects the 18th basket. Will really needs a 2 here. He throws it nice and high. It's coming down right at it. Oh, just over the top for Will Schusterick. Jason Dore puts a move on. It's fighting through, but gets knocked down short. And here's Ricky Wysocki looking to finish by extending his lead. He doesn't like it. It was too far right and gets knocked down. And you can see the players coming up the 18th fairway. Jason Dore, after a long, hard battle, looks like he's going to be in second place heading into the final 9. Here's his approach. And that looks like it's nestled up nicely. Should have no problem tapping in for his par. Little love from that tree right there. Here's Ricky Wysocki. And that shot pretty much guarantees he will have a 4-stroke lead as we head to the final 9 with Jason Dore in second place. This is Simon to tie Jason and cut into Rick's lead over him. Oh, and he's just short, so Simon will be 5 back going into the final 9. And there's Will Schusterick just pitching out. So, final hole of all par 3s sets us up for an exciting final 9. Joining these 4 will be Kyle Moriarty, who had a very nice final round.
Final 9 will start at 5:10 on hole 19. 5:10 p.m. on hole 19. See you guys there. Give it up for these players.
Smugglers Notch Resort and Brewster Ridge Disc Golf would like to thank the following for their support of the 2014 Green Mountain Championship. Cambridge Artists and Entrepreneurs, Backcountry Magazine, Innova Champion Discs, Club Wyndham, The Mad Taco, and Mountain Seasons Bagelry.